Over the past century, many people have examined Albert Einstein's brain. However, nobody knows where it is now. So where could it be? Did someone steal it? What was the purpose of stealing his brain? Who could have done such a thing? Let's investigate these questions and find out. In 1955, the world-renowned physicist Albert Einstein died at the age of 76. His death certificate listed the cause of death as abdominal aortic aneurysm. During his autopsy, however, the doctor in charge found that not only did Einstein die from an abdominal aortic aneurysm, but also that he had high blood pressure, atherosclerosis, and a detached retina. But perhaps more strikingly, the pathologist who conducted the autopsy, Thomas Harvey, removed Einstein's brain without the permission of his family. You are probably wondering why anyone would want to remove the brain of a person who had just passed away. The explanation might surprise you. The doctor responsible for the autopsy worked at Princeton University Hospital at the time, and when he learned that Einstein was going to be admitted to the hospital soon, he requested permission from Einstein's family to examine the brain of the renowned physicist. However, they refused. When Einstein was admitted to the hospital, he had no idea that the man who was treating him would do something that would shock the entire world. When the physicist's time came, Thomas Harvey carried out the autopsy and removed the brain. He kept the brain without telling anybody about it, not even the police or the coroner. One might wonder how a brain can simply go missing during an autopsy. Well, after removing the brain, Dr. Harvey placed it in a container filled with a formaldehyde solution and then sent it to a pathology lab at a different university. There, his assistant, John C. Fulton, weighed the brain and took some tissue samples before placing it in a jar and sealing it with a plastic lid. After that, the brain was moved to a safer location, which was supposedly locked and guarded at all times. In total, over 240 photographs of the brain were taken from various angles. Additionally, several slices of the brain were photographed separately. Later, Dr. Harvey gave some pieces of Einstein's brain to scientists for research. However, he himself continued to keep the brain until 1965, when he was 70 years old. At that point, he started making arrangements for its disposal. According to what he told the FBI years later, Dr. Harvey intended to deliver the brain to a medical museum in New York. However, he changed his mind after learning that the museum was affiliated with a university that was a rival of Princeton University. Because of this, he decided to cremate the brain instead. On May 1965, Thomas Harvey took the jar containing Einstein's brain to an area in New Jersey where cremations were performed. However, when he arrived there, the staff informed him that they were fully booked and would have to wait until the next day to carry out the cremation. Dr. Harvey left the jar with the staff and went home. He never returned to pick up the ashes. According to his own account, the reason why he didn't return was that he couldn't get time off work to attend the cremation the following day. When he finally got around to canceling the cremation and returning to collect the jar, it was gone. According to the crematorium employees, somebody had already come back for the jar and signed a document confirming that they had picked up the remains of Albert Einstein. Dr. Harvey reported the incident to the police, and the FBI launched an investigation into the case. However, nobody ever figured out who had stolen the brain. It seems clear that whoever took the brain knew exactly where to find it. If we assume that it was one of the pathologists who worked with Einstein's brain, then it wasn't very difficult for them to know where it was being kept. However, if we consider that the brain was sent to two different universities, it seems likely that the thief must have been a scientist from one of those places. In addition to this line of thought, the fact that the brain was kept in multiple places makes us think that more than one individual was involved in the theft. Many years later, in 1978, Dr. Harvey was interviewed by the FBI, and he stated that he believed the brain had been stolen by two individuals from the pathology department. During the interview, he added that he didn't think the thieves had any bad intentions when they stole the brain. Rather, they probably just wanted to dissect it. However, despite the fact that the brain has never been found, and despite the extensive search conducted by the FBI, there is another theory that claims that the brain is still at Princeton University. This theory is based on the testimony of Clement V. Conant, a former professor of pathology at the university. According to him, the brain was never removed from the pathology building and is still hidden somewhere there. If this is true, it means that the brain has remained in the same place for almost 100 years. However, we will probably never know if this is actually the case, because nobody knows exactly where Einstein's brain is hiding. It's important to note that there are currently several theories trying to explain what happened to the brain. Some believe it was stolen for scientific research, while others think it was taken out of respect for Einstein. However, it's possible that the reason for stealing the brain was much more mundane. Einstein's brain was stolen 10 years before the Watergate scandal broke, which led to the resignation of President Richard Nixon. During that time, the United States was in the middle of a political crisis, and people were looking for a way to restore order and stability. As a result, some scientists may have wanted to study Einstein's brain in order to understand what made him such a brilliant thinker. By studying his brain, they hoped to find ways to improve their own intelligence and help solve the problems facing the country. Although this may seem like a far-fetched theory, it's not entirely implausible. After all, during the Cold War, both the U.S. and Soviet Union spent billions of dollars trying to develop new technologies that would give them an advantage over the other. So it's not surprising that scientists would be eager to find ways to improve themselves. It's also worth noting that this wasn't the only time that Einstein's body was violated without the consent of his family. In 1910, a woman who claimed to be a spiritual healer cut off one of Einstein's hairs without his permission. She said that she needed the hair in order to perform a seance and contact the spirits of dead celebrities. Although Einstein was initially angry about the incident, he later came to find the whole thing rather amusing. In general, it appears that most people don't take kindly to having their body parts removed without their consent. Even though he was already dead when this happened to him, it's clear that Albert Einstein would not have appreciated what those scientists did. As you can see, there are many different theories about what happened to Albert Einstein's brain and why it was stolen. We may never know the truth, but that doesn't stop us from wondering and speculating. So what do you think happened to Einstein's brain? Why was it stolen? And do you think it will ever be found? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. If you haven't already, please subscribe so you don't miss out on our latest videos.